Hey everybody, it's me Eli doing my 8th video blog about OCD and scrupulosity. Um, Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit more about the scrupulosity that I have, because I know it's something that a lot of people don't understand, including doctors. Uh, Pretty much every psychiatrist I've ever seen has never heard of scrupulosity, and it's a rare form of OCD, but it's the most torturous and it's the most difficult to treat, which of course I would get. And because of the intensity of the intrusive thoughts that I get, and the intense anxiety that I constantly have, and the anxiety attacks and the panic attacks, um, I started doing self-harming behavior, not cutting myself or anything, but more like hitting myself. And I think I had talked about that before, but it's been pretty bad over the years. I've injured myself pretty good. A couple of years ago, I hit myself in the back of the neck uh, without realizing how hard I had hit myself, and my neck muscles went in spasm for 2 days. I couldn't hold my head straight. I was literally, my head was going like this. It freaked me out. I've hit both my knees so hard, so many times, that they both swelled up. Um, and just this past September, I think, I had kicked my uh, left ankle really hard with my right foot, and my ankle became extremely swollen, to the point where there was like red lines on my skin, and yeah, it was bad. It's something that I'm trying to work on. But those of you with scrupulosity, or even other forms of OCD, know um, that even if it's something that seems illogical, um, if it takes the anxiety away and takes that pain and guilt away, even for uh, a few seconds, it seems worth it at the time. When in the long run we end up exacerbating the OCD by giving it more control. It's like feeding the fires, so to speak. Um, I like I said, I've hurt myself quite a bit, and I, it's actually very common for people with OCD to have self-harming behavior. That could be anywhere from hair pulling to uh, um, like what I do, hitting myself, punching myself. Some people burn themselves. Some people will cut themselves, and it's not anything that's to be taken lightly. It's not anything that's funny. If you have a friend that does it, and you're in high school and you have a friend who cuts themselves and comes to school with bruises or something, um, you need to step up to that person and ask them, hey, what's up? What's going on? Why are you having all these things happen? Um, because most people with scrupulosity are too ashamed to talk about it, and that's what makes it even harder to diagnose. So, anyways, I was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder um, when I was interviewed for a federal disability, and the doctor, I didn't even bring it up. I didn't know that that was something I had, but the doctor told me that I have very severe post-traumatic stress disorder, and that stemmed from uh, the guilt that I felt of not being able to save my dad, and the witnessing my dad's last heart attack and uh, all the all the little things that nobody else in the world but me or my sister and my mom uh, know that went on. Um, and that actually led to I was already on psych meds. I was already on antidepressant for OCD. I was on Klonopin uh, for anxiety, um, and a few other medications. And as I realized that my symptoms were getting worse, OCD was getting worse after I lost my dad, the anxiety, the self-harming, um, I started asking for stronger medications. And I got um, 2 milligrams of Xanax 3 times a day, which really, for me, is not that much because some people can have anxiety, this can goes up a little bit and it comes down and they're fine. Me, my anxiety is always right here and then it'll shoot up into the atmosphere, and there's, I mean, 2 milligrams of Xanax can literally knock out a person without any anxiety disorders, and all it does for me is barely take the edge off. And I also had a smooth muscle relaxant for a stomach issue that I have, and I didn't know that medication causes severe memory loss, and I didn't realize for years, at least 3 or 4 years, I didn't realize that I was over medicating myself. Um, because I would take Xanax and an hour later I'd think to myself, this isn't working, I need another one. And I'd take another Xanax and think to myself, well, this still isn't working, I need another one. And then same thing with the rest of my meds, um, especially my stomach medication. My stomach would still be hurting, I'd still be having issues, so I would take more, and the combination of those two was uh, catastrophic. I am very lucky and blessed to be able to be sitting here and telling this story, because I was not in any way intending to try to overdose or kill myself or anything like that. I mean, I'm a Christian and I don't believe in suicide. Um, but when you take 90 Xanax within the course of 3 days and 120 stomach medication pills in the course of 2 or 3 days, um, without realizing it, that's pretty dangerous. Um, it landed me in the lovely behavioral health center, which is their way of pretending it's not a mental hospital. Um, I was put there twice, 5150, because I had taken too much medication. And I thought the 5150 thing was absolutely ridiculous, because anybody that knows me knows that I feel guilty stepping on an ant. And um, I'm not a violent person. Never been in a fight, never tried to be in one. That's just not me. Um, I'm gonna close up this video right now, but I just want anybody that's watching this and that's taking medications or is trying to get medications, please heed what I say. Listen to me. It is not worth it to not give it a chance to work. That's what the doctor is there for. Psychiatrists are there for medication management. If your dose of anxiety medication or whatever uh, isn't enough, don't start doubling up or tripling up your doses. Call your doctor, ask him if it's okay to do that, or schedule an appointment and discuss it with the psychiatrist and see if the doses can be raised or if there's a different medication. You do not want to over medicate yourself because you can get yourself killed. And I very nearly did because I was trying to walk home from the next town over the very first time. And I ended up at somebody's house thinking I was back at my sister's house. I had unfortunately had a huge argument with my brother-in-law, and so I was spending the night, and I left and thought I was going to walk, 30 miles home, and without realizing it because I was hallucinating, I thought I was back at my sister's house, so I was pounding on the door, screaming at my sister for them to let me in, and those people that lived at the house were really scared, and they had to call the police. And the police were, thank God, kind enough to realize that I wasn't a threat. I was hallucinating. I'm sure they checked my backpack. They saw my meds. And they knew because they called an ambulance for me and took me to the hospital. And after I was out of the hospital, then I went to the behavioral health center on a 5150 72-hour mandatory hold, and that happened twice. And it's the closest thing to jail I can think of, and I don't ever want to go back there. I don't think anybody should ever be there. It's not a healthy environment. Um, being locked inside, can't even go outside for fresh air and stuff. It's ridiculous. So please, if you have medications prescribed for you, be careful. Take them as prescribed. Don't try and do what I did and think, oh, I'll be fine, because you won't be fine. And I had to realize that the hard way because I very well could have never woken up from one of those overdoses, and the impact that that would have had on my mom and my sister and my brother-in-law and my nephews would have been devastating. So, anyways, I want to thank everybody again for watching, and uh, I hope you are getting something out of these videos. Um, Feel free to leave me a comment or a question if you have anything that you'd like to talk to me about. I'll address them, in the video. Alright? Have a good night.